What is up, you guys? This is All Day Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you an Omega build breakdown for Black Widow. So let's go ahead and take a look at her gear, her Omega gear. So this isn't going to be a very long video. These are going to be pretty short. I'm just going to explain the Omega gears that I'm using and then the reason why I'm using it. So I'm using two-piece Gamora's garments, Guise of Green Goblin, Dormammu's Embrace, and Blessing of Blackguard Boltagon. The reason why I'm using two pieces of Gamora's garments is because you get that extra crit hit and the crit damage, 50% crit damage. And just keep in mind, Gamora's garments are the best Omega gear pieces, or gear set to use for every character. I mean, it's the most universal. It's not the best to use on every character, but it's the most universal because every character can make use of crit damage and crit hits. The reason why I went with Guise of Green Goblin is because once per 10 seconds an explosive power will be armed with cluster grenades detonating after impact for an additional 9655 damage. So you have cluster bombs, you have two explosive abilities. One of them actually has a tag as explosive, which is the cluster bombs. But this is it. What's going to happen is the cluster grenades are going to apply when your cluster bombs also hit. So you're going to get that additional 9655 damage AoE whatever to nearby enemies whenever you activate the cluster bombs. And then with Dormammu's Embrace, when you use cluster bombs as well, it's going to apply fire damage, and the fire damage is going to let you do 20% more damage to the targets that are burning, which is, again, is going to help you a lot. And then you have Blessing of Blackguard Boltagon, 100% crit hit chance to energy powers. Crit hits with energy powers disable this effect for 4 seconds. So what that means is your crit hit chance is 100% every 4 seconds, pretty much, because all of your abilities are going to be energy based. So that's all the kind of the reasons why I used all that. Then for my legendary, I'm using Cosmic Control Rod because you get the first two ranks are really easy to get and the most important ones to get. So 1200 energy damage increase and 1500 crit hit rating to energy powers. And then for my relic, I'm using Complete Relic of Xander. I'm not going to go over the best artifacts. I'm just going to tell you the artifacts I'm using. So Advanced Reserve Electrical Generator, just for the voltage cost reduction and the increase of voltage. And then Black Tom's Cosmically Enhanced Shillelagh for the energy damage and the increase in, or obviously for the cosmic effects. And then the Gem of the Curse, obviously for those extra stats. And then for my medallion, I'm using Mega Sentinel Medallion. When you hit with an energy power, gain 618 damage to energy powers. So now for my abilities, the abilities I'm using is kind of different from what my original build was. My stinging build, my energy build for Black Widow. Obviously, I'm using Silent Killer for her dash. I'm not using electric batons anymore. I'm using Stinging Barrage on X, Coup de Grace on Circle, Stinging Shot on L2X, Micro Drones on Square, Widow's Kiss on L2 Square, Rolling Grenades on Triangle, and my signature on L2 Triangle. And then for my talents, I'm using Kinetically Charged Battery, Voltaic Batons, Fistful of Grenades, Drone Swarm, and Going Loud. The reason why I went with Going Loud, I did use Never Know What Hit Them because it increases your base damage by 40% for 5 seconds, and also the enemies that aren't targeting you when you're invisible, you do 20% more damage, so you're getting a 60% damage buff. But the reason why I went with Going Loud is because you can consistently have 5% damage increase to all of your abilities for 10 seconds. And Coup de Grace is an 8-second cooldown ability, so as long as you keep that up, you'll always have a 2-second window between the two before the duration ends. So you're gonna consistently have that 10%, that 5% damage increase all the time. With Never Know What Hit Them, all this does is you have to wait 36 seconds for your signature to come back, and then you'll be able to get that 60% damage buff again. So whichever one you think is going to be more important to you, or which one you think is going to be more useful, use it. And then for my synergies, I went with Beast, Black Widow, Cyclops, Elektra, Hawkeye, Iron Man, Punisher, Squirrel Girl, Star-Lord, and War Machine. Then my infinity points, I put my points into fighting, 3 points into fighting, and then the rest into intelligence, and the rest into my brutal damage. Now I'm going to show you what the damage and whatnot looks like and the rotations I go with. So the first ability I use, I always go square, triangle, circle, so that way I can apply the vulnerability to them with the micro drones, and then triangle with the cluster grenades or cluster bombs, which also applies fire damage and explosive damage. And then I use coup de grace, so that way the vulnerability and fire damage are applied, and coup de grace will still, it's an execute ability, so it generally has a lot of damage on it already, but then I'll also get that 5% damage buff. So just like this, and it's all pretty quick. And then after that, if it's a group of enemies, I'll use Widow's Kiss first, or Widow's Bite, and then I use the Stinging Gauntlet ability on my L2 square, X I mean. And if it's a single target, I'll use just X, because it's rapid fire stinging shots. And then you have your signature, which will do a burst damage against nearby enemies. It also apply damage over time for a bit, and but yeah, that's pretty much it for Black Widow for this particular build. It does work pretty well. I was actually able to farm the event solo for a good while without dying too much, which is actually pretty nice. And the bosses the bosses were going down pretty, not extremely fast, but they're going down faster than any other Black Widow builds I've ever used, or that I've used so far. So that's pretty much it. If this video helps you out at all, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section. If you have any gear sets that you think is really good for Black Widow, go ahead and put that down as well. I also like to keep in mind the Stark Tech Stealth Weave, or whatever it's called. It's also a really good one to use, especially for the 20% boss damage increase. It's really nice. The first perk, what's it called, when you find the weak spot or weak point for the enemy, does help as well. So if you want to use that instead of the Guise of Green Goblin, be my guest. I'm not saying it doesn't work, it definitely works. So if you're trying to find something to replace the Guise of Green Goblin, then I would go with Stark Tech Stealth Weave or another piece of Gamora's garments, because there's no reason why there's no reason why you shouldn't have at least one piece, but having more will definitely help you increase your crit chance. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys liked it, go ahead and like it, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions, comment down in the comment section, or you can go to my Twitter at alldayanyday1 and just keep that. Or you can also, if you subscribe, you can click that bell and then hop in on my streams and ask me. Even if I'm playing a different game, I'm still happy to assist you guys with these builds and stuff, with your questions. So that's pretty much it. This is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.